so welcome to Wickford Middle School. As you entered, this is the main lobby where all students enter at the start of school. The first thing I want to point out to you is that this school has a single entry into the building, meaning if you come to the main entrance, which is right over this way, there's a door that you would buzz into. Once you've communicated with the office your intent to be in the building, they'll remotely unlock the door and you'd be granted access into this section of the school. Off of this section of the school is our gymnasium, and what I'll do is after I give this little speaking part, we can open up the doors and people can poke their head into. So you've got your gymnasium in there, which inside of the gymnasium has a boys and girls locker room. If anybody would like to go into either of those locker rooms, I can certainly open up those doors as well. One of the challenges with this building is upon gaining access into the lobby, you've now gained access into one of our large classroom spaces. Then to access the main part of the building, you have to climb this flight of stairs, or if you require an elevator, you'd have to come over here to the elevator. However, this elevator works off of the key system, so we'd have to have a staff member come down and unlock the elevator for you to access it. Now I'm going to talk about the ADA accessibility challenges of this school in just a moment. But once you get to the top of the stairs, there's another buzzer. So that door at the top of the stairs, while it's propped open now, during the school day remains locked. And upon successful granting of access, you then be allowed to enter the main hallway, which gets you complete access to the school, with the main office being the first classroom on the right. So I spoke to the ADA challenges a few moments ago. I really want to walk everybody through that. It's not going to do it justice. So what I'm going to do is I want everybody to kind of take a mental picture of this area here. I'm going to ask Mr. Flanagan, the principal, to kind of show us how it works and open it up. And then I'm going to show you if you need to gain access to the nurse's office, the guidance office, the robotics and engineering room, the art room, the music room, the foreign language room, the library media center, and you require accessible transportation, what you'd have to go through. So, Dave, do you mind hold that open? So what we'll do is I'm going to have the camera just go in there, take a video of it, and then we'll shut off the video, and everyone will be free to take a peek in the elevator while I unlock the.
Would a child in a wheelchair fit through that?
So a child in a wheelchair would fit through there. It is in there, and you wouldn't be able to gain access to the elevator while trying to hold the door open.
So a child cannot do that independently?
No.
Yeah.
We did create a video that we're going to post of what it is like to be in a wheelchair and having to travel through this building for either a student, staff member, or a visitor. And we are going to post that. And the video walks through here using the elevator, where it brings you to the different spaces throughout the building, using the chair lift, and going from this floor to first floor to second floor.
And I'll give away the ending of the story. It's 6 minutes and 44 seconds to get from this side of the building to the other side of the building. You have to go through a classroom, up a chairlift, through the cafeteria, down a chairlift. And that's to get to your class. At the end of your class, you then have to reverse that.
And how long does it take a able-bodied student to get through?
To climb up the stairs and get to the other side, to be up the stairs. And Dave, is the middle staircase the down staircase? So it'd be halfway down the hall, down the staircase. 45 seconds?
Yeah, maybe a minute, thereabouts.
I was going to say probably like a minute or so, or
yeah.
maybe a little bit longer. So if you think about the instructional time that's lost, and then also just the we talk about inclusion of our students and community within the school. There's a lack of inclusion because of the ADA accessibility that we don't have in this building.
Well, and you bring up a great point that I didn't mention, in that in using the chairlifts, you can't use the chairlifts during passing time, which means the child who requires that chairlift needs to either be leaving class early or arriving to class late, because that is one of the ways that the other kids in the building travel through the building as well, as through the stairwell. So when that chairlift is down and moving, that entire stairwell is not passable until the move of the wheelchair is complete. So as you enter the gym, there are bleachers on one side of the gymnasium. They are pushed in. They do come out. There's a divider as well that is inoperable at this time. I know I was the assistant principal at Wickford from 2012 to 2016, and I know that we would periodically in the winter get calls from the facilities department asking us to open the divider just to give additional stability if there was a heavy snow load. So the divider right now is inoperable, so I know that doesn't happen, but I know at one point we were doing it. I don't want to mislead anybody, we never had any structural concerns with it. It was just an additional safety measure for snow load.
When was that built?
The gym, Bob, do you know offhand? I'm looking to see if there's
I can give you 2 seconds.
addition
I can
flag.
tell you
So,
the exact date.
while he pulls it up, sometime in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
While he pulls it up, this floor in here isn't your traditional gym floor. It's a multi-purpose floor, so it's a rubber floor. It is cleaned regularly, but it is an age floor. So I invite anybody to dig the trick and call the elevator back, or if you'd like to come in and take a look at the gym, you'll notice that there's air handling units. This is what provides the heat. This building only has heat. There's no AC. If you're in a wheelchair and you have a class on this floor, you would have come up from the lobby. However, exiting to get back to the lobby, you'd have to go through this door and then make a pretty tight turn, a 90-degree turn followed by another 90-degree turn. I know when we had the wheelchair, it's not exactly a comfortable turn, especially if there's other people in the hallway, because of how tight and narrow that space is. So that is something that our children with disabilities have to take into account, is making that turn. On my left, your right, is a classroom that's been converted into the main office area. I'll show you where the previous office area is, but as you look down this hall, you can see this is, again, what they call the first floor. You've got classrooms on both sides, you've got an office. If you see those grayish, I believe they're grayish colored double doors, there's a staircase there that leads into the cafeteria. That's an up staircase only. I will explain why when we get a little closer, but I'll also invite you to kind of walk up and down those stairs. I will just ask and caution that you use a handrail, because the rise and width of the stairs is not a traditional stair. So it's got a narrow landing with somewhat staggered rise. So if you'd like to check out the main office, and I'm happy to open up any classrooms you'd like to see. The area we're in now, I'll kind of give a little tour, and then I've opened it up. So you've got the nurse's office behind us. So those of you that were at DMS with us last night, you noticed the nurse's office had a few sub-offices inside of it. It had a treatment room, it had a waiting room, it had an insulin room where all the kids, diabetic kids, had all their individual totes set up where they could go and get some privacy. This area is a little bit tougher. There's a bench outside, there's a bench inside, there's a guidance office, and then a conference room. So this school certainly doesn't have the space that DMS had. Over here, you've got a social work office. I encourage you to poke your head in. It's a windowless room. I'll open this room up before. These two rooms are kind of connected. So those of you that were with us at DMS last night, I pointed out that robotics room that had the computers and the build area, those tables set up. They were in the same room. Here, this year is the second year that we've actually been able to take advantage of two separate rooms. So you've got the lab room here where they'll do the programming of their robots, and then here where they'll go in and design them. I know in some of the design work that Perkins Eastman is doing, is they're actually building a suite of rooms that are connected with windows connected, so that one teacher can supervise multiple rooms. This is a little more of a challenge, as the teacher has to go back and forth to be in two places at once, but I know that we have very trustworthy kids here, so they're able to do that somewhat successfully. And then what I'm going to point out is, where we started the tour was on the lobby. We've now gone down a floor. So that elevator, if you need to gain access to the nurse's office, social work, robotics, or the cafeteria, you would come through this classroom, this lab classroom, to come out to this area here. Then you would need to call on this lift. Dave, do you mind just showing the speed at which this operates?
I don't know.
You didn't bring the keyboard in? Yeah, so the elevator comes down.
Are we at like a somewhere like a basement
We're,
now?
we're on ground level. Yep. Yeah, so the elevator to gain access to any part of the ground floor is through this classroom. This was a wood shop at one time. Right, this does not connect. Trish Corley, our Director of Child Nutrition Services, has done a wonderful job over the past 10 years. Actually, it's called Love Your Lunchroom, where she's had all the lunchrooms decorated. So this has a nice feel to it. But the stairs behind me are the stairs I was mentioning upstairs. I would absolutely encourage you to take a couple steps up them. Again, I just caution, use the hand railing because it is a little deceiving. But again, if you're in a wheelchair trying to move about the building, you've now gone through a classroom, up a chairlift, you're now coming across the cafeteria, and I'm going to take you to the next chairlift. The lunches are served, if you see the Wildcat Cafe, the lunches are served through there, and you come out and sit at these tables. The children, as they're entering the cafeteria, will enter through the side doors as the kids are exiting up the stairs. Again, these are up-only staircase, so feel free to take a minute to explore. So we were just in the robotics classroom. We're now on the other side of that wall. We've come through the cafeteria. If you require a wheelchair, you've now had to come down this wheelchair lift as well. Behind me, this closet, you can hear a little hum coming from. This is both a bathroom and a server room. You'll notice a yellow line on the floor. That's because we had a child with a disability who needed a bathroom, and there's not another bathroom on this hallway. So rather than having them have to go up and down, we painted a yellow line that takes them directly to the stall. Where there's a bathroom, there's also water, but this is also the main, we call it the MDF. This is the main IT cabinet where all of the IT connections come in from the road as well as in the building. There's one more smaller, it's not even a closet, it's on a wall upstairs, which is a secondary distribution point. So feel free to poke your head in. See, this isn't what we want in a 21st century media center. This is more your traditional library where kids would come check out books. Media centers nowadays just have so many more possibilities when it comes to technology, creation of content. This is what our kids at Wickford have right now. There is a small maker space where on the other side of this white wall, there's a small maker space where kids can get creative. I'm not sure if the green screen is up right now, but they do the best that they can with the space that they have. Okay, so we have the back, so we have two entrances into the media center, so they're both right here. This room right over here is a current science classroom. And at one time it was the Family Consumer Science. It was home ec it was called home ec. When I took it, they changed the name to Family Consumer Science. So there are still washer and dryer in there because there is still a need in the school to have a washer and dryer to wash the kids' pennies from phys ed and anything else that would need to be cleaned. So we have a converted Family Consumer Science, and then this classroom, Dave, what is this classroom?
Foreign language. Foreign
language. So these next two are foreign language, correct? So the next two classrooms down here are foreign language. So there are no other foreign language classrooms. There are other science classrooms. There's no other media center. There's no other art classroom. There's no other general music classroom. So anybody who had a mobility issue and had any of those classes, this is the only area where those classrooms are. So
the other point for if you're in class here and you're out in a wheelchair or have that mobility issue, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to do that reverse up the chairlifts and then back again. So for you to go to the bathroom during a class time period, you're probably looking at, minimum 15, 18 minutes of instruction time you'd lose.
And how long are the class periods?
48 or 52.
And are we currently on the first floor?
We're on the
or
ground
in
floor,
sub-
so we're
So-
still,
Okay.
Kind
so,
of the
so
basement, yeah.
if it was light out, you'd see that the windows are just about on grade.
Okay.
So below the windows is below grade.
So are we like even with the lobby where we started?
We are a half floor below.
Half floor
Half
below.
So are we level where the gym is about, or no?
No, we're below.
Kind of low.
So when you come into these two rooms, the windows are looking out onto the ground, the level ground. So
So before you go in, so this is a science room, just imagine what you would think a science room should look like in 2023. Then look at it, and if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer. So, that's all I'm gonna say before you go in there.
This part of the building,
Rob, where's Rob? This is the 1950s part? All right, so this room to my left, I will invite anybody to go in who wants. This is the boiler room, where all of our mechanicals are kept. Is this where the water comes in as well? This is where our water comes in. There is a danger asbestos sign on here because this building does contain asbestos in different areas, and this is one of the areas that definitely contains it. It is open. You are free to go in there if you wish. We're actually going to move upstairs. This is our final stop. This is another foreign language classroom. I'm happy to open it if anybody would like to see it, but it's very similar to the one next door. So I want to point out a couple of concerns we have with this section of the building in particular. If you notice on this wall and this wall, you're going to see some pretty substantial cracks. As you come into this classroom right here, I want you to actually feel what the floor is doing. You'll see a lot of cracks, but you'll feel that this is not a level floor. I know when I was here, we did have the architects and engineers come in and look, and while they did note that there was some settling, it is, again, it is safe, but the building does continue to settle, this section of the building. So feel free to come in. You've got a math classroom here. This is, again, Dr. Duva mentioned downstairs what a science classroom should look like in 2023. I'm going to point out another science classroom here, and then we have another science classroom here. So you have two science classrooms, you have a math classroom, and then you have a small group classroom over there. I'm not going to open that up just because I can show you another small classroom. But feel free to mingle around. I really encourage you to come into this room here. And just as you come in, just continue to walk all the way towards the windows, and you can observe the cracking in the floor. Oh, wow.
How many rooms are doing this settling?
We've got a couple right along this end of the building. This one is the worst.
Might be something going on underneath there. I've heard different stories about this area. Maybe things being dumped here years ago, what have you. So something's under here causing this.
So yeah, so we were told settling. We were told that it was the building settling.